We're good there. That takes a second. We should be live on there. Hopefully people on LinkedIn and Zoom can see us. Welcome. This is a multi-step process to get going here.
I'm impressed.
Multi-step process to just go live everywhere, unfortunately. Okay, well, welcome. Oh, we gotta let some more people in. Okay, give it a couple more seconds, guys. It's good to have more people. We like more people. So, welcome everyone to my monthly chat series, What's the Buzz? I am your host, Amy Keenan. So if you've been tuning in the second Tuesday of every month at 4 p.m. on Zoom and LinkedIn Live, you know I'm the host and I'm here to share have some great guests, share some great insights, share some trends, share some topics that we all like to hear about, like all of the things I try to bring to What's the Buzz to keep you guys in the know about what's going on in our ecosystem and just 20 minutes or less because we all are very busy. So with that, today I'm very excited because we're changing things up a little bit. We're not going to focus on certain solutions that help us with our ERPs and so forth. We're going to talk about the people we work with every day in our lives, in our office, virtually, in person, all of the things. A people-centric approach to leading, because leadership isn't just about processes and performance, it's about people. So I'm very excited today to have our guest who graduated from the University of Notre Dame, became a CPA with PwC, then working there several years. Since then, he's written 2 Emmy-nominated award shows, so you should check those out. Has a comedy album on Sirius XM, has been on stage over 2,000 times. I have a lot to catch up there. Opening for the likes of the comedian Louis Anderson and the band Train. His book, What's Your And, which I've read and is great and highly recommend. What's Your And, Unlock the Person Within the Professional. Very good book. Make sure you get it. And also has won several awards, has recently named Distinguished Favorite by the Independent Press Awards, and was recently featured in Forbes. Now that we have him here with us today, welcome, John Garrett, to the What's the Buzz?
Yeah, well, thanks so much, Amy.
A lot.
This is awesome.
You have a lot of accolades going on there. Very excited.
I appreciate it. I've done some stuff.
You
So
have done some stuff. I have a lot to do to catch up.
Well, all of those things to get me on to What's the Buzz? Like, what do I got to do to get on this show, Amy? And apparently it's 2 Emmy-nominated award shows. So there you go.
That's it.
Yeah, so I'm just excited to be here with you. So thank you.
I am too. And just give everybody a little bit of backstory. I've known John for quite a few years, and he's been a tremendous help to me and been on his podcast, and he's been supporting AccuConnect and just does a lot of great initiatives for us in the community and the ERP ecosystem. So I thought, why not have him on What's the Buzz to talk, take things a little bit differently, take a different approach to our topics that we normally do. So thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been cool to be a part of that for sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and because we all just get lost in our job titles, that becomes our full identity of who we are, and that's just what we do. Who we are is a human that's behind that, and how do we pull that human out from behind the job title is so important.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. We have quite a few topics. Do you want to let's talk about.
It's your show, Amy. You tell me.
Okay, when asked, who are you? Most reply with their name and job title, right? So what should we say instead? What should we be thinking about when we work with our coworkers and in the office space or by the water cooler or whatever it may be?
Well, you're at a conference and you meet somebody, or you're at a networking event, or when somebody starts at work or whatever, it's just if you want to be completely forgettable, then name and job title and then hard stop, because no one, I'm gonna forget you because so is everyone else. Like, everyone else has the same job title, works in the same stuff. So you can say the job title, but then just and a hobby or a passion or interest outside of work. I'm a CPA and I do stand-up comedy. I guarantee that there's no follow-up questions on the CPA part of my intro. None, unless it's like right now where people have a tax question. But otherwise, no, not really. But stand-up comedy, what's that all about? That's where you get to know the human there and have a genuine connection. And Carl Jung has a great quote where he says, "The world will ask you who you are, and if you don't know, then the world will tell you."
I
And
love
it's
that.
so powerful because if you ask someone who they are, they tell you their name and their job, and that's it. And it's because we've been spun around and we get dizzy and we get disoriented and we forget who we really are. And
Hmm.
so, don't be afraid to go find yourself and then share a little bit of that at work.
Right. And I feel like, when you're at work, it's like all work. We have to talk about all work. We have to be busy. We have to look like we're working all the time. We can't, talk about other stuff. And I feel like it's like we've kind of dissociated our human at home
Yeah.
personal life with our work life. And now I feel like I'm sure you see this since COVID has kind of blended, right? Because now we're working from home a lot more. Now people see that other side of us. Hey, there's a dog walking by, or there's a kid jumping on the screen, or whatever it may be, right? So
Yeah.
it has kind of mixed or blended a little bit. But you're right. When I go to a conference or anyone, it's just so human nature to say, oh, I'm this person from this company, right?
Yeah, and completely forgettable.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really get to know you. I mean, in my career, I mean, when I graduated from Notre Dame, I went to Big Four. I was at PricewaterhouseCoopers, Big Four accounting, and then left that to go to industry, and so I worked around a lot of people, and I bet 98% of them I don't remember. And it's not because I'm a jerk. I mean, that's part of it probably, but like most of it's because I didn't know who they were as
Yeah.
people. Like
Right.
what's your and? Like what lights you up on a deeper level? And more work is not the answer if you're going to be honest. And for
Definitely.
a handful of people it is. But for most of us it's not. And so it's okay to remember that and the people around you also are humans that do work. And the human you is all these other dimensions to who you are. And it's so crucial to keep those other dimensions in the air and going
Yeah.
and alive and nurtured and shine a light on them and celebrate them. Because in all the surveys, people say they want to feel valued they want to feel valued for the work they do, but more importantly, they want to feel valued as them. Like
Hmm.
they want you to see you, Amy, all the parts of you, the fitness, exercise, all that side of you as well. Not just the work side of you. You were on my podcast talking about it, so I thought it was cool that I
Yeah.
can share that part.
I'm still the same thing.
Yeah, yeah, it was not a secret.
No.
So but that's important. And
Yeah.
so people asking about that and finding out about that, then you feel like, oh wow, you see me as Amy, not me as my job title.
Hmm.
Because your job title and your technical skills are completely replaceable. Everybody listening to this, I don't care who you are. You're going to leave at some point, and someone else is going to be in your chair doing your job maybe a smidge better than you do. And that hurts your ego. But what they're not going to do is have the same skill set and personality and hobbies and passions and interests and all of what you can bring to your job, they don't have.
Right.
But if you only come with your technical skills and your job title, and that's all I do, I mean, you're forgettable and replaceable and all the bad things. And
Hmm.
we work way too hard and are way too good at our jobs to be forgettable, I think.
Exactly.
And
I
so
agree.
little bit out. Like, this isn't drama. This isn't, oh, I got my seventh divorce. Like it's not that. It's not, all the bad thing. It's not anything taboo or protesting, whatever. It's like, no, it's nothing illegal. It's just, what's a hobby or passion that lights you up? And then if you're in a leadership position, find out what those things are and ask people about them periodically
Yeah.
and see what happens.
I feel like it's a great conversation starter, like you said, because when you say I'm a CPA and I'm a comedian, well, obviously they're going to remember the comedian more and they'll be like, well, CPA and comedian don't even go together, first of all, right?
I mean,
So you got that for
pretty
you.
much.
And then You could
The
like it's just
accounting
a great
profession agreed,
conversation,
and
right?
there you go.
I know. You're a conversation starter. I mean, it's being relatable. It's figuring out maybe you have the same thing in common with them, right? And you can build a relationship with them outside of work because of that too.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And this certainly works with client relationships too.
Yeah.
It's just that usually happens more frequently, less frequently on the internal side of things. And so that's why I focus mostly on those internal relationships and colleague relationships. And sometimes people are like, oh, well, I know what my peer, well, yeah, because you're all in leadership or in the C-suite but does it go vertical? Does
Mhm.
that brand new person know what the CEO loves to do outside of work? Because if it's the same thing, that's magic right there,
Exactly.
and so, how do we get people to share those little things and shine a light on those and celebrate those?
Hmm.
Make it part of my ultimate dream is an organization that has, your annual goals, which a lot of people probably just finished doing a month or two ago. Well, why isn't there an external goal that we make sure you do? Oh, I want to run 2 marathons this year. Well, first of all, you're crazy. But second of all, good for you. So how do we make sure that you do that? Because if you're not running, then you're not living your best life and you're not going to do your best work. So as an organization and as a leader, care enough about your people to show them that, hey, I want you to live your best life. And paying you every 2 weeks is not enough of me showing that I care.
Yeah.
And the thing is like if you don't care about this person, well, someone else will, and then they leave. So you choose, really.
Hmm. And I've unfortunately worked for companies that do do one side and do the other side, and you don't, and it's, you don't want to be in that spot where you're not valued or appreciated, or they don't like ask you what you like to do or get personal with you, and it's all about the job, micromanaging, making sure you clock in and clock out at your designated times, no taking extra breaks or no going to the doctors without, like
Right.
there, you don't want that. We don't want that kind of office
Yeah.
stuff to deal with, right? And
Wait,
and,
I think
and
the
that,
audio just cut out, or
oh,
oh wait, now it's back.
okay.
There we go. Oh
So
no, it's
I
out.
wouldn't want to work with somebody.
There we go.
I know what it's like to do both versions, and you just want to be out of that toxic environment.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because I mean, there are places that have leaders that are people centric, that do care, and there are
Hmm.
organizations that are built around that, and so people find those,
Yeah.
and the other ones will go away eventually, and or you
Yep.
choose. I mean, if that's your culture, then you're going to pay people a
True.
lot for them to sell parts of their souls to be that, but you don't have to. That's the thing, is you could actually pay people less if you just cared about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
Or
talking
more
about like,
perks, other kind of perks, right? Like
yeah,
you just beyond the salary, basically.
yeah, absolutely. And it all just comes down to genuine interest and care. Just care,
Yeah.
really. And it doesn't take a lot of time. There was a study at Johns Hopkins University that I just read, came out last year, where 40 seconds of genuine interaction a day, 40 seconds. That's not a lot. 40 seconds of genuine interaction a day is a greater sense of belonging, less anxiety, less depression. And especially when we're working remote, when we're,
That's what I was going to say. Like
even
remote gets
busy,
harder,
whatever.
right? Because we don't
Yeah.
see these people every day in the
40
office.
seconds though.
So you
Like you
have to,
jump on a
yeah,
call and just, hey, I know you
check
were
in.
going on to that concert. How was it? Let me see some pictures. Okay, cool. Now let's talk about work. I mean, it's ask them about their and have one or two follow-up questions. You got 40 seconds right there.
Yep.
And it's science, so it's pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah, it's just like those little things that you don't think about that can be just so powerful in your everyday work life, right?
Well, and also too, people have different skill sets based on those things. I remember some organizations, there was one that I was doing some consulting work with to implement this philosophy in their culture. And before I started working there, they had a big, huge client presentation. And it came down to 2 women to who's going to give it. And they decided based on who's been here longest, which is the dumbest reason to pick. So come to find out, one lady loves like 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzles. And the other lady is a lead singer in a cover band. Well, they picked the puzzle lady because she's been here longest. Well, she's not the one who should be giving a presentation. It's the one who's a cover band lead singer. That's what she loves to do. She's been
Mhm.
exercising that muscle outside of work all the time because it lights up her soul. And yet you didn't know she had that skill, so you don't allow her to use that at work to her benefit and the organization's benefit.
Yeah.
So there's all these different skills. What client are they staffed on? What, kind of projects do you work on? There's just because their college degree and certification, are the same doesn't mean that you're the same person as the next person that's, in the group. So really find that out and,
Hmm.
allow them to exercise those skills that they have and use them.
Exactly. Yeah. Could you tell everybody a little bit about your book, What's Your And what it
Yeah,
entails, why we
absolutely.
need
What's
to
your
read
and?
it?
There it is. Boom. I carrot topped it with my props. Yeah. So, I, yeah. What's your hand? Unlike the person within the professional, Coach Lou Holtz wrote the foreword. I graduated from Notre Dame, so that's pretty excited for me. It's won some awards and was just recently mentioned in Forbes as being a great leadership book. Yeah, and it's just I wrote it in micro chapters. So if you're like, I'm not a reader,
Yeah, I
it's
love that.
very readable. It's
Yeah.
my words. It's when I did the audio version, it was super easy to do because I was like, oh yeah, this is how I would have said this type of thing. And so it really means a lot that so many people are reading it and writing such great reviews on Amazon, especially. It's really helps to feed the algorithms and just makes such a difference. And it's for professionals, but also I've even heard from stay-at-home parents where their kid goes away to college and all of a sudden their identity is gone. Like, who am I? Outside of, soccer mom or lacrosse dad or whatever it
Me.
is. Right. It's tough. It's tough. And so it's needing to have that identity that you have that's beyond the job title, that's beyond the other stuff. So oh, book title in the chat. Yeah.
I'm putting it.
Yeah, there you go. You can go to what'syourand.com as well. And everything's there, all the links and everything. So yeah, and the podcast as well, in case you want to dive into 663 comes out tomorrow. So
That's awesome.
and look at Amy's and check out Amy's episode for sure. So yeah.
Okay. So yeah, get the book. It's a great short read if you can. I mean, I read it in a couple days, but it's really quick. So loved that book. Okay, to wrap things up, how I think this is probably maybe something most people probably struggle with is bridging the generational differences, right? The
Hmm.
DEI differences, departmental differences. Like, what do you suggest to help bridge that, all those different things?
This has been an awesome accidental byproduct of what's your and that I hear from clients is that this bridges all of those differences. So, if you have somebody that's 70 and a brand new person that's 22 and they both love cars, well, it doesn't matter what gen letter dumb thing you're a part of. You're both human beings that love cars. Well,
Hmm.
go hang out and talk about it. All
Yeah.
of a sudden you have a connection. It doesn't matter like, that your baby pictures are black and white and mine are in color. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's stupid. We're humans at the end of the day. And so, that it helps bridge that. It helps bridge the DEIA conversation differences because then all of a sudden, if you both love mountain biking, hey, like we've been hanging out, like all of a sudden we're not so different. We're very similar. And we can have those conversations as human to human instead of as senior associate to senior manager or whatever stupid titles people have and being farther apart. And so, and even departments. I mean, I
Yeah.
worked when I worked in corporate, I mean, there were plenty of departments where I just got frustrated with, but if you got to know the people and their story and who they are as humans, you're like, holy cow, no wonder you don't know what you're doing. No, I'm just kidding. but it's like, but you get to know them and you appreciate them more, and then you can create these human relationships so that when you mess up, also,
Mhm.
they're forgiving and have some grace as well. But it just brings people together. It makes the relationships sticky. And of course, it
Yeah,
works with clients, but I focus mostly on making it internal because that's where the big shift has been, and where I think it's most important is the people that you're around more waking hours than your family, and
exactly.
all the people that you work with. So,
I know it. I love that because as you mentioned, it's even in marketing these days, right? It's human to human approach now, right? Even our
mhm.
stories, like we want to share stories on social media. We want to share stories with everybody that we get in contact with because like people remember stories. Uh, people remember, sorry, I'm letting somebody in. People remember stories. They remember you as a person, as a human versus as your job title, like you mentioned. Like it's just a trickle effect, not only in the workplace and who we work with, but also everywhere else, how it just can trickle on to everything and just really, like you said, make you memorable because of all that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's so powerful, and that's how this all
Yeah.
started. Was I was speaking at a conference, I was backstage getting mic'd up, and the meeting professional comes up, and she says, "Oh, do you know this guy named Mark Baumgartner?" And I'm like, "I've never heard that name in my life. It's pretty unique, but can it wait? I'm getting ready to be introduced." And so then she said, "Well, he knows you. He saw the speakers and was like, 'Oh, I know John Garrett. That's the guy who did Comedy at Night.'" And I was like, well, who is this Rain Man? And do I owe you $50? Like, why do you remember me? What's going on? And so I go out, do my 50-minute hour keynote, come back off stage, look him up. I'm not connected on LinkedIn, but he was in my first PwC office, and I left that office 12 years before that. 12 years later, someone I never
Unbelievable.
worked with, I never met. I didn't even go to the tax floor because I'm one of the cool CPAs that doesn't know how taxes work. And so uh, he remembered me 12 years later, and he didn't remember me for anything that's on my resume that's really strong. He remembered me for a hobby that I did outside of work. And I believe that everyone deserves to be remembered 12 years from now. And it's
Hmm.
not going to be because you were the most technically sound person at your company. It's just
Right.
not. It's going to be because you're a human and what lights you up. And
Yeah.
it's infectious. People want to be around people that are alive.
Right. And if it's I also want to say you need hobbies outside of work, right? You need distractions. You need things to do besides your job title and what you do because you need that break, mental break, physical break, whatever it is. So finding those hobbies, finding those things you like to do to decompress, to unwind, to makes you a better person on the job, off the job as well. So I feel like it has that whole trickle effect in yourself, not only throughout sharing your journey throughout with everybody else.
You're exactly right. There was also a study at Northwestern where the more that you merge that outside Amy and at work Amy, the better moral decisions are made. Because if you have a
Hmm.
huge divide, well, at work, if I make this shady call or shady decision, that doesn't make me a bad parent or a bad spouse or a bad friend. But it's the same you. So the more you
Yeah.
bring that wall down and bring these together, you're a better professional because of that. Also, there was a study at Duke, less anxiety, less depression, because the more that you put your identity and who you are and your pride and your ego in your job title, it's not good. I mean, your anxiety is going to be high. Every single move that you make, every single move the company makes, every single move that the client may or may not make. I mean, you're just on
Hmm.
eggshells through it all. And then if they don't choose you, then for the promotion, if they don't choose you as a client, if they don't choose you for whatever, then for that project, then depression and spiral. And I'm a worthless person because I
Right.
didn't. No, not at all. You have the other 90% of you is awesome. How about you
Hmm.
focus on that and
Love that.
you'll pick yourself up and you'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, as we wrap this up, sorry, we went over a little bit over 20 minutes, but would love for you to just wrap up how they can learn about you, get to know you, find you besides the book. I know we put some stuff in the chat, but just share with everybody some few final thoughts as we wrap up this What's the Buzz
No,
Monthly Chat?
I just appreciate everyone's time and just encouraged by this is our message,
Yeah,
collective. It's not my message. I just happen to be the mouthpiece. This is all of our message. We're all humans that do work. And just remember that. And, I can help through, the speaking, but also through one-on-one coaching that I do. I can help through leadership retreat facilitation as well, or implementing this philosophy at your organization, or even just be a sounding board. Or if you want to be a guest on the podcast to talk about a hobby or passion that you have outside of work, I'd love to have you on. Because the more people that are on, the better it is. And so, thank you so much for having me be a part of this, Amy.
Yeah, thank you so much, John, for being on What's the Buzz? And thank you everyone for tuning in this month. I truly do appreciate it. So I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Thanks so much. Bye, everyone.